Good evening. What a good-looking crowd. I just got to start with that. I just got to tell you that. Thank you all so much for coming out to the, officially the umpteenth annual ThanksGIVN Interfaith Service of Gratitude, where we have an opportunity to gather as members of a community who may have different belief systems and different practices, but can all come together in some common values like being thankful for each other, for the world, and for everything around us. My name is Carlene Goldthwait, and I'm a member here at American Lutheran Church and the vice president of Grand Valley Interfaith Network. It is my delight to do all of the boring housekeeping stuff. So, first of all, if you're not familiar with our building and you need to use the restroom, they're right across the hallway there out these doors. I've got somebody who can direct you to the restrooms there. If in the unlikely event we need to leave this room in a hurry, there are 3 external exits off of the lobby, and then we've got 1 small emergency exit over here. If we had to leave in a hurry, you'd want to go to the very back of the parking lot. So there's that piece. If you get restless and you need to move around and you need to do an activity or an art project or color, we've got a children's area in the back. And that's for children of all ages, by the way. So please don't feel badly. If you're a person who's like, I love this thing, but I can't sit still for that long, please feel free to do what you need to do to take care of you. We know that there are lots of different beliefs and no beliefs at all that are represented in this room tonight. We know that you will extend grace to our speakers who speak from their own faith traditions, even if it's not yours. And in that spirit, one of the things that's a tradition for us here at American Lutheran is to acknowledge the land that we are on. Before I do that, before I turn that over though, if you didn't get a program, I would encourage you to look down the aisle, and if you see 2 people and they both have a program, take one of theirs. Especially if you're a speaker and you don't know when you're supposed to be speaking, that might be a good thing to do. We also have some candles up here. If it's part of your faith tradition to light a candle in the candle table along the wall, please feel free to do that at any time. We will have a choral piece offered later today for the gathering, and I want to say a special thank you to Chris Klein, who was just up here on the piano, who did the arrangement for us, to Jeremy Franklin, who's going to be leading us, and I also want to say a special thank you to Allie Little, who is our tech wrangler, Mark Hinkle, who is our assistant tech wrangler, and all of the folks who are taking the time, investing the time to share their gratitude with us tonight. We run a really tight ship, so as soon as one speaker's done, the next one will get up. We don't have any flowery introductions. We're just here to be together. So I'll turn it over to Mark, and thank you for being here.
Good evening. We recognize that the land where we gather belongs to the Creator, as does all of creation. We also acknowledge that Ute peoples lived here before settlers of European descent claimed ownership of it and displaced those for whom this land was home. As we gather tonight, let us be mindful of this injustice in our history and acknowledge our complicity in it. Let us also appreciate the Creator's continuing presence in this land and commit ourselves to just and respectful relationships within our community and throughout the world.
Welcome. I'm Dave Edwards, president of the Grand Valley Interfaith Network. I embrace with love all who organized and are participating in this Interfaith Thanksgiving service, as well as all who have made the important programs of GIVN and its members effective. Carlene Goldthwait has been the anchor for tonight's efforts. Carlene's vision and soul mark everything that we succeed in doing tonight. Jeremy Franklin director of our choir, has mightily prepared our improv choir to jazz our service with soulful music. Chris Klein, another long-standing friend, drives us to success with his brilliant piano. Sherry Cole, program coordinator of our Grand Valley Peace and Justice, has once again resurrected We Shelter to provide overnight shelter to children and women and men who need a clean, warm, safe place with food, companionship, and most importantly, dignity and humanity. This American Lutheran Church and the Unitarian Universalist Church of the Grand Valley are the first churches to provide shelter for the We Shelter program this year. We meet tonight with gladness, gratitude, and yet with deep and profound sadness and grief. My heart breaks. I am truly heartbroken by the deadly shooting in Colorado Springs. Once again, an entire community is left devastated and traumatized. My heart goes out to the people whose lives were taken far too soon, their families and friends, and everyone who was at Club Q on Saturday. Club Q is supposed to be a safe haven for LGBTQ+ people, where they can be safe and free to be themselves. And yet, Club Q, like Pulse before it, has become the site of hatred and violence. Sunday, we marked Transgendered Day of Remembrance. We mourn and remember the trans people who were taken from us far too soon, including those we lost the day before at Club Q. We must recommit ourselves to the work of ending the epidemics of gun violence, transphobia, and homophobia in our country, and saluting the resilience of trans people everywhere. The tragedy in Colorado Springs looks to be the latest in a long line of extremist attacks targeting marginalized communities, including not just Orlando, but Buffalo, Oak Creek, Charleston, Pittsburgh, Poway, El Paso, and more. GVIN recognizes that racial, ethnic, religious, LGBTQ+ and other groups have also been targeted by hate-fueled violence. Know that an attack on one of our communities is an attack on all. An important thing to recognize is how the current environment of anti-LGBTQ+ bias, discrimination, and hate has created the conditions for violence to thrive. Language, attitudes, and acts can escalate to discrimination and bias-motivated violence. We mourn the lives lost in Colorado Springs, but we refuse to become numb to the spread of hatred and conspiracy theories, to the rise of hate crimes and bias incidents. We must find ways for our communities to feel safe from hate. Finally, on a positive note, we celebrate this year's successes. The Latter-day Saints has committed to and begun construction on the Grand Valley Temple. Just last week, I was told that the LDS will rebuild the Firebombed Fruit Award. The hope and joy that comes from standing up to hate fills our hearts. The LDS has also formally adopted respect for same-sex marriages, which on a personal note has led me to wish them enormous thanks. We are privileged this year that Carlene and Sherry Cole have accomplished something I didn't know was possible. We have our proclamation for Thanksgiving and Interfaith Appreciation for today, signed by Cody Davis, Scott McGinnis, and Janet Rowland, our 3 county commissioners. They're unfortunately not able to be here, but they send their good wishes. I will read it. Whereas the Mesa County Commissioners honor and respect all religious faith, beliefs, cultures, creeds, worldviews, races, and every person's right to believe or not believe, so long as actions taken in support of those beliefs or creeds do not infringe upon the rights of others. And whereas Grand Valley Interfaith Network is an organization of the Grand Valley of Western Colorado that offers opportunities for community worship, spiritual celebration, shared learning activities, fellowship, and worship. And whereas the members of the Grand Valley Interfaith Network have been cooperating in efforts to serve the community as proponents of human dignity and rights and agents of compassion in seeking to meet essential human needs in Grand Junction and Mesa County since 1977. And whereas many Grand Junction faith-based groups have partnered with Grand Valley Interfaith Network to offer a series of activities and events which are open to all people of any faith and those who are not so affiliated, in the days and weeks leading up to the annual ThanksGIVN Interfaith service, to be followed by days of individual reflection on gratitude, connection, and peace. And whereas Grand Valley Interfaith Network demonstrates positive acceptance of religious diversity, worldviews, and the exchange of ideas and resources in Grand Valley communities, and whereas one of the shared values espoused by most religions is gratitude, which is the 2022 theme of the Grand Valley Interfaith Network celebration on Thanksgiving, therefore be it resolved. The Board of Mesa County Commissioners proclaims November 22nd, 2022 as Interfaith Appreciation Day in Mesa County as expressed through the multi-faith Thanksgiving service, and encourages the citizens of Mesa County to be tolerant and respectful of all people, religions, beliefs, cultures, creeds, worldviews, genders, races, and ethnicities, in witness of their whereof we hereunto set our hands and cause to be affixed the seal, it's there, the official seal of Mesa County, this 4th day of November 2022. And thank you, Carlene and Sherry, for a job well done.
Greetings, I'm Ellen Ireland with Koinonia. Let me ask you this. Is there room at your table for everyone? I wonder, what can we do to bring more people to our tables this year? Maybe add some chairs or another leaf or two. Close your eyes for a moment if you want to, and imagine your table this Thanksgiving. One by one, visualize the people who will be sitting at your table on Thursday. Now think of the poorest person you know. Imagine the poorest person you know sitting there at your table. Now think of the richest person you know. Imagine the richest person you know sitting at your table. It's okay if it makes you feel uncomfortable. Now imagine yourself getting to know everyone at your table and wholeheartedly enjoying yourself. It's hard to fear people whose story we know. This Thanksgiving, may we set a place at our tables of radical welcome to everyone. For Everyone Born is a song we like to sing at Koinonia. If you know it, please feel free to sing or hum along.
For everyone born, a place at the table, for everyone born, clean water and bread, a shelter, a space, a safe place for growing, for everyone born, a star overhead. And God will delight when we are creators of justice and joy, compassion and peace. Yes, God will delight when we are creators of justice, justice and joy. For everyone born, a place at the table, to live without fear and simply to be, to work, to speak out, to witness and worship, for everyone born the right to be free. And God will delight when we are creators of justice and joy, compassion and peace. Yes, God will delight when we are creators of justice, justice and joy.
Try this 90-second trick to
What a view from up here. Looking at all of these beautiful faces, some smiling, no one frowning, many curious as what is Samuel Basler about to say. Well, I'm going to be asking you 2 questions. And I don't want anyone to shout out the answer you have, but to think the answer that you have. 2 words in my first question. Those 2 words, what matters? My second question, 3 words. What matters not? Does it matter if the blouse you're eyeing is silk or rayon? What matters? What matters not? Does it matter if your car is 16 years old or your car is 10 minutes old as you drive it off the area where it was transported in here? In 2 days, we're doing Thanksgiving. And so we're giving thanks. What are we giving thanks for? Thanksgiving as a time of appreciation. Appreciation, thinking right now, creating that table coming up in 2 days. The table, for many of you, it will be family. For others of you, it will be friends. And for yet others, both family and friends. Or perhaps you are the person who has no family and few friends locally. So just recognize what you're having for Thanksgiving dinner is quiet time. Quiet time for self, so that you are at peace. Some of you will have much in the way of bounty, foods that have come from far and near, aunts, uncles, friends, cousins, all of the family. And some of you will have fun, some of you will have activities, others of you a rest. So, appreciation in the form of love, laughter, relaxation, sharing, and caring. And for appreciation everywhere, every day. When you're stuck in traffic, appreciate the fact that you have a car, that you have a radio, perhaps playing your kind of music. Maybe you think about the person you love, or some kind of great thing like a blue sky above. If you're ill, maybe your appreciation is for the cozy blanket or the cup of tea. Perhaps you even had to make it yourself, but you appreciate it. And if you're scared or afraid, think of a moment of laughter that perhaps shows up in your life in some form, a song or a scene or a bird. I always enjoy watching the raven as it approaches a telephone pole on North Avenue. They have the most graceful coming up and dropping on. So maybe even a group of starlings. How do they do that? They go up and everybody goes up. They go to the left, everybody goes to the left. How does that last one get the word? Well, anyway, now just take a moment after that chuckle, look around here. Acknowledge the smiles. They're all over the place. I see some big ones, I see some little ones, but I see lots of smiles and happy eyes. Appreciate that. I get to see them from up here, but I didn't see many heads turn. Come on, people. I am a former teacher, and I expect when I say, turn your heads, please turn your heads. Look around, laugh, get that joy, go all of it. Thank you. And all those sparkling eyes, I know that every one of you in here is a light worker, a light focuser, someone raising the level of not only Grand Junction, but also the collective, which is everyone, everywhere. And so I say thank you for all those greater levels of light and love and laughter. And now think with me, you don't need to say it, but if you wish, it's very simple. I am the light, I am the love, I am the truth, I am. And I give thanks for all of it. Every day is a day of appreciation. What matters? All of it matters. What matters not? All of it matters not. Thank you.
You will see a flyer that has on one side the We Shelter program, and on the other side our wonderful other charity for tonight. I'm going to speak about We Shelter briefly. We Shelter, short for Winter Emergency Shelter. In the fellowship hall here tonight, we have some people who have been camping and sleeping outside who are sleeping inside now. They have been fed dinner. They're taking showers. Some of them hadn't showered for 11 days before they got in the shower. Some of them walk everywhere. But what is so incredible this evening is all the people saying, yes, let's help them. Yes, let's honor who they are. They may be vulnerable, but I know I have days when I feel vulnerable. I can relate to that, but I know where I'm laying my head every night. Well, until mid-February, they're laying their head every night here. Our single men will begin December 18th, so they will know where they are laying their head that night. They will have a sense of belonging, that they matter, that human dignity is real in our world because we offer it to them, acknowledging them, looking them in the eyes and saying, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. To continue doing this, obviously, takes resources, so that's why we're one of the charities tonight. You can make a donation tonight by check to Grand Valley Peace and Justice. You can put in the note, We Shelter Program, and we will use that money, as we have done, pillows, bedding, food, all sorts of other needs to meet people's needs. I want to say that the city of Grand Junction, this flyer was made up by the new housing director at the city of Grand Junction, whose job it is to try and create more opportunities for housing for people. The city has helped us with this program. The Grand Valley Transit is going to be able to give us vouchers so that when our single men need to ride to one of our sites, they will get on the bus and hand the voucher to the bus driver to get to our sites. So we are having community. We are in community to help one another, acknowledge one another, and wrap ourselves around each other. It's such a good feeling, such a good feeling. You can participate tonight by making a donation, or if you'd like to help in another way, my email and our phone number is on this flyer too. I want you to know, as I look at you, I see a blessing. You are a blessing. Thank you.
Oh, this is a bigger crowd than I thought, sitting down here. I don't know what the protocol usually is, but I would like to introduce myself by saying a couple of things. One is that I am a member of the Baha'i community here in Grand Junction. Another is that I only moved here about 4 months ago. I retired from my job as a mental health therapist in Durango to move here and be retired, but you know what? That wasn't serving God, so I'm working part-time and glad to be doing that. So tonight I'm going to just talk for a few minutes about gratitude. So what do you usually do to elevate your mood? Eat ice cream, go shopping, book tickets to somewhere abroad. Yes, those are great short-term solutions. Instead, have you ever tried to do something that can help you feel better over a longer period of time? One simple habit that has amazing long-term benefits is practicing gratitude. Gratitude is probably one of the most overlooked methods of self-care, but it's simple, easily accessible, and the benefits of gratitude are unmeasurable. What are your benefits of gratitude? Will you become healthier, more successful, happier, a better person? Well, the answer to all of those is probably yes. Imagine waking up and falling asleep with positive thoughts every single day. Sounds awesome, right? Everyone goes through seasons in life. Some seasons are great and some are difficult. Through it all, however, we get to decide how we react. It's always our choice. Through our challenges, do we choose gratitude? Do we choose happiness? As we face the challenges that life can bring our way, we need to make a choice about how we're going to react. If we aren't able to keep hope, accept what it is, and experience gratitude, it becomes hard to move on. It's easy to get caught up in things that go wrong and feel like our own private rain cloud. At the same time, we take good people for granted. We overlook everyday beauty and goodness. So we miss opportunities for kindness and connection. When you find yourself focusing on negative thoughts and feelings, refocus your mind on the good event and the positive feelings that came with it. This gets easier with practice. Why is gratitude so powerful? Gratitude helps people feel more positive emotions, relish good experiences, improve their health, deal with adversity, and build strong relationships. It produces a feeling of long-lasting happiness and contentment, the physiological basis of which lies at the neurotransmitter level. But many of us also create our own suffering by the way we react to the people and circumstances in our lives. While we may not find happiness in these times of adversity, it's still possible for us to accept these realities of life. Acceptance and seeing life accurately helps us to be better at responding and moving forward. The challenge is to find something to be grateful for every day. It doesn't have to be anything grand. Some blessings are a given. We've just forgotten to notice them. Things like the morning sunlight, your coworkers' greetings when you get it to work, that you own a car. See, we're thinking alike on that. How your dog greets you when you first wake up. Sometimes the hardest part of it all is building awareness. If we're not careful, we go through days and weeks as machines, repeating the same behaviors and tasks. We spend too much time living in the past and dwelling on what went wrong. This poisons our actions in the moment and our momentum for the future. Instead, with gratitude, it allows us to experience more hope and more abundance in life. We attract more into our life when we focus on the good that surrounds us now. We must develop the ability to see life accurately. In our busy lives, we can project and distort our expectations for life. A practice of acceptance for the way life is allows us to better perceive reality and respond to it more skillfully. That doesn't mean we live passively. Our awareness helps us to live more powerfully. We need goals to feel inspired to grow and to become enlightened. I wanted to give a couple kind of silly examples that happened to me this summer about how I was not building gratitude in my life. So I admit there are times that I can be crabby about certain things. So I found myself writing some reviews of purchases on Amazon. And I noticed to my horror that as I went along, they got more and more critical. And I felt very negative. And I had to stop myself and say, why am I doing this? Another thing that I noticed about myself is I don't really like to talk on the phone. And I just moved here. I had 1,000 phone calls to make. You know, I have to call the car insurance. I have to get the electricity started and get the Wi-Fi started and argue with Medicare. And I just dreaded it, every single phone call. But then I noticed something, that 99.9% of the time, The person on the other end of the phone was delightful. And I thought, wait a minute, I'm going about this all wrong. This is an enjoyable experience in which they're giving me positive feedback and I can give them positive feedback. And then we're both going to feel better about it. So I learned something there. So gratitude can be cultivated with simple daily practices. Can it change your life? Well, it isn't always possible to change all your circumstances, but you can change where you focus your mind and your heart. It can change your life because it makes you appreciate what you have rather than what you don't have. It is the single most powerful source of inspiration a person can tap into if they simply just stop and pay attention to the simplistic beauty and miracle of life. So why practice gratitude? It improves self-esteem, increases your energy level and physical health, makes you happier and more optimistic. You become more resilient so you can better deal with adversity. You become more generous and giving. It keeps you in the present moment. It lowers your stress, anxiety, and negative thoughts. Improves relationships as you learn to be generous and kind. You feel more connected to others and more connected to the world. And what is more important than that? We all need to be connected. You develop a new perspective, which helps you look for what's good in life. Instead of worrying about what you don't have, you can learn to be grateful for what you do have. The difficulties in your life won't magically disappear, but they are part of the reality of life on this earth. You will change, mostly. An attitude of gratitude will bring you closer to God, and your relationship to people around you will change. And I think that as I was sort of researching this and putting my thoughts together, I was really struck by how as we become more grateful, more positive beings, it does bring us closer to God. So I'd like to read a quote from the Baha'i writings. It says, "For I say unto you that he has chosen you to be his messengers of love throughout the world, to be his bearers of spiritual gifts to man, to be the means of spreading unity and concord on the earth. Thank God with all your hearts that such a privilege has been given unto you. For a life devoted to praise is not too long in which to thank God for such a favor." And I'd like to read, if you don't mind, one more quote. "Do you realize how much you should thank God for his blessings? If you should thank him 1,000 times with each breath, it would not be sufficient. Because God has created and trained you. He has protected you from every affliction and prepared every gift and bestowal. Consider what a kind Father he is. He bestows his gifts before you even ask. We were not in the world of existence, but as soon as we were born, we found everything prepared for our needs and comfort without question on our part. He has given us a kind father and compassionate mother, provided for us 2 springs of milk, pure atmosphere, refreshing water, gentle breezes, and the sun shining above our heads. In brief, he has supplied all the necessities of life." Thank you.
Good evening. My name is the Reverend Lauren R.E. Larkin, and I'm the priest in charge of Nativity Episcopal Church. I just wanted to check real quick. Are you able to sign that? Okay. I just wanted you to know about it first. Okay. I have an interesting name in this, and I wanted to make sure she was able to sign it. I'm ungrateful. The sun rises and the sun sets. Hate still tramples about, stealing life from beloved bodies. Joy and rapture cut short, while love and acceptance is silenced by violence. Their happiness, their liberty to be, their life unacceptable to those who believe such things are reserved only for the elite, the powerful, the white, the heteronormative, the conforming, those who worship at the altar of Moloch, drinking lustfully from terror's cup, bending the knee to weaponize malevolence, consumed by the venom of malice. This world is colder and dimmer because Daniel Eston, Kelly Loving, Ashley Paw, Derek Rump, and Raymond Green Vance no longer participate in this material life, no longer darken doorways of their family and friends, no longer take up beautiful space. I'm ungrateful. We are sick. We have an illness. We pretend it's not wreaking havoc on every cell of our body. We go from one horrific incident to another as if this is all normal. Humans killing humans isn't normal. Stockpiling militarized weapons isn't normal. Our silence is acceptance of conditions not oriented towards life. Isn't that abnormal? Think about it. Where is our desire to live? Where is our verve for liberation? Where is our fight against death? Why are we rolling over, pulling the covers over our head, and waiting for the next incident to flicker onto and illuminate our screens? When do we stand up in this boat being rocked by the appetite of voracious and rancorous waves and winds and sound our maternal yawp to protect our own? How many more lives must be lost before we holler our divine spirits, no? How many children, brothers, sisters, moms and dads, lovers and friends must be violently and suddenly yanked away before we tell those damned waves and winds to shut up and sit down? How long? How many more? Do we not care? I am ungrateful. I'm a pastor. I'm called to serve life, not death. I'm a child bearer. I'm called to push forth life, not death. I'm a teacher. I'm called to cause space and place for life to thrive and not death. I'm an ethicist. I'm called to advocate for life over death. I'm a human. I'm called to share and participate in life with others in retaliation against death. So, I'm ungrateful because this society repeatedly chooses death over life. And I'm not okay with it because it goes against who I am and everything I'm called to. It rails against a God of life and love and puts those whom I love, those whom I'm charged to love by God, in grave threat and danger. But then, as I linger here in my ungratefulness, thick and heavy, covered in it, my anger, my frustration, my solidarity with those whom I love, I realize they are worth fighting for. You are worth fighting for. Life and love are worth fighting for. And for that, I am very, very, very grateful.
Good evening. My name is Colleen Mortensen, and I am the secretary for the Grand Valley Interfaith Network, probably for like the last 6 or 7 years. And it is my pleasure every time this season to be able to attend one of these gatherings. I love seeing our community come together with the many faith communities that are here tonight. I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and am so proud and so happy to be in attendance here tonight with you. Today, as I was thinking about this evening, there was a lot going on in our lives by noon this morning. My heart was heavy, I was nervous, I was scared, I was praying, I was worried. I had a daughter that went in for a first ultrasound this morning to peer on that ultrasound image to see life for the first time, that we'll be having a child in June. My stepfather went in for his first chemotherapy appointment this morning as well, with a lot of nervous energy and worry. So as we try to celebrate new life coming in, we're also worried about surviving and saving an older life. And the one that struck so dear and close to my heart is my younger sister. She suffered an aneurysm and a stroke this summer. And she's been on the road to recovery, but there's been additional stress and bleeding, and she was in for brain surgery for 4 hours this morning. And by noon, I had all the results in front of me. Everything was going well. Everybody had survived and had, just the best outcome that could be presented today. And so for that, I give a lot of thanks and a lot of gratitude. But I am also not naive to the fact that situations can be different than that. We can be given much sadder and poorer and harder news. But during those times, I feel like, and with this theme tonight, thankfulness and gratitude, I feel ever so grateful to be surrounded by a friend and family and church communities that buoy us up when we are struggling and when there are very, very difficult times. I wanted to share a quote with you that I came across that I just loved. It says, "Thankfulness is the beginning of gratitude. Gratitude is the completion of thankfulness. Thankfulness may consist merely of words. Gratitude is shown in acts." I love that because it's a place to start, to be thankful, to acknowledge, to recognize. But then really the next step, the higher level, is to serve, is to act, is to be a part of something encouraging and helpful to our fellow men. That's how we show gratitude. I wanted to share a story with you that goes along with the musical introduction that my dear friends Caprice Laga and Paige Storheim will present for you. There was a composer, and his name is Edward Algar. He was going through a very dark, desperate time in his life, and he was done composing. He was finished, but he had a friend. He had a friend, Augustus Jaeger. And this friend came to him and encouraged him, buoyed him up, supported him, helped him through those dark days, those difficult times, and encouraged him to continue to compose. He composed a song, and it's called Enigma Variation, and it's number 9. And this composer dedicated it to his friend that helped him continue in his musical composing journey. And my friends Paige and Caprice will perform that for you now. And as you listen, please try to take into your own lives maybe the challenge to act, to show gratitude rather than just have a little bit of thankfulness, but to actually show and put forth some effort to your friends, your family, community, and make our little community just a little bit better. Happy Thanksgiving.
evening, everyone. This is a little high. I'm one of the photographers tonight, so I want to take a picture first of all of you. So isn't it so great to meet in person for this Thanksgiving Interfaith service after COVID? This is something to be grateful for, right? My name is Gail Alvish, and together with my husband, Antonio, we are representing Universal Peace Federation and Women's Federation for World Peace. These two peace organizations are from Reverend and Mrs. Moon's spiritual movement. Universal Peace Federation has a component called Headwing, which focuses on seeing the best in two opposing sides and using that to find common ground and ways to work together for a higher purpose. Women's Federation for World Peace believes that women are natural peacemakers because we bring the heart of a mother or sister to any situation. And Women's Federation for World Peace believes men and women are equal in value before God. Gratitude, what a great topic. And as people have said, it's not just for Thanksgiving. And I think if we can express gratitude, it opens the door to our hearts so that God can step in and guide us. So we've heard really a great diverse number of presentations tonight. And so now we thought we'd give you, the audience, a chance to express your gratitude, because it's hard, right, to keep listening and listening. So this is your chance to share, and we want to ask you, so what are you grateful for about living in the Grand Valley? Has anybody lived here more than 40 years?
Yes.
How many years?
61.
Oh, wow. Can anybody top that? How many back there? Oh, well, you look good. How many years have you lived here? 66. Oh, wow, 66, amazing. So, so what are you grateful for? You've lived here so long.
Sorry, just a logistical point. We do have a person with a roving microphone so that our folks on the campus, let's wave at the folks who are watching us on the TV.
Yay!
Since I interrupted you anyway, thank you.
No problem.
Can you have someone with a microphone? Because otherwise the folks who are joining us remotely wouldn't be able to hear what you say. Thank you.
Yes.
Well, I am grateful to live here, and since I was born and raised in Fruita, actually, to see the change that has happened, but also to know that we have a beautiful community. Yes, and also I love our beautiful mountains, and our weather is fabulous. So I just love being here with mostly beautiful people.
Yes, thank you. Okay, anyone else? What are you grateful for about living in the Grand Valley? While you're thinking, I'm going to jump in and say, we moved here from Denver where the traffic is horrific, so I'm so grateful. It's so easy to go from point A to point B here. That's really a blessing. Anybody else?
I'm always really grateful when the brook cliffs turn all pink and orange and purple. It's so gorgeous. I always love that so much.
Yes, that's great. Thank you. Oh, we have a lady over here.
Giving me my exercise, man. I need it.
I'm very grateful to be living here close to my 3 grandchildren.
Yes. That's why we're here too, our grandchildren.
I'm grateful every time I top the rise up there and there's the mesa, and every time I see it, it's a little different, but it's always wonderful. And I'm grateful for my church family that I have here since I've moved here. So wonderful place to be.
Yes, thank you.
I am grateful for the large number of smiles that greet me every day, whether I know the person behind the smile or not. Somebody new, somebody that I've connected with. They're just so easy to bring forth.
I am grateful for the place I live in because about a year ago or more it became obvious that I was going to need to move, and it took me 6 months to find a place. So I'm grateful to have the one I have.
Anybody else right here in the back?
So you kind of stole my thunder. I moved here, it's just shy of 20 years ago, and I moved from Denver. Best decision I ever made. I too was sick to death of the traffic over there and the number of people. And then I was able to afford a place to live here and have my horses with me and all that stuff. So it's been the best decision I've ever made.
Thank you.
I'm grateful for the amazing opportunities that we have to do a number of activities, whatever you want to do, mountain biking, hiking, and the fun people that are in this valley that you meet while you're out having so much fun. But we live in an incredible place, and there's just so many things to just keep you outside, and it's just beautiful and it's breathtaking.
Yep, it's really true. Thank you. Anybody else? I'm from back east. I guess we'll close with this, but I'm so thankful to this mild winter. We kind of thought about, well, should we go back east? And we said, no, the winters are just too nice. Thank you, everybody, for participating.
Hey folks, I'm Weldon Allen. I'm with the Grand Valley Resettlement Program for Afghan families. So I just wanted to, I get to say I'm thankful for all kinds of stuff because believe it or not, all of y'all, while you've been speaking, have been leading up to what I'm thankful for. So first off and foremost, I'm just so thankful, for the opportunity that the Grand Valley Interfaith Network gave to us. We are the other side of the page, and I just wanted to kind of give you the feel for what Grand Valley Resettlement Program is all about. I'm also very thankful for ThanksGIVN. We're bringing a number of families to the Grand Valley from Afghanistan, some of which are already here. I'd like to be, first off, I'm grateful and thankful to Bob Hedlund. Bob Hedlund was the head of JDA and Joint Development International, and he brought 550 folks, a total of 52 families, into the United Arab Emirates out of Afghanistan. They were escaping, actually, the rule of the Taliban. They left with no more than a suitcase in their hand. He brought them out sometime in October. Came back to the Grand Valley. JDA's office is here in the Grand Valley. Brought them back to Grand Junction, hoping, and he was hoping to bring as many as he could here of his friends. But they were in the UAE, so how do we get them here? So we've been working on that process. I'm also thankful for we have approximately 350 volunteers with the Grand Valley Resettlement Program. I'm very thankful for all those. Those are all unpaid volunteers. I'm unpaid. Bob is volunteer. We are a 100% volunteer organization. You have to understand that these 15 families that we're going to bring here to the Grand Valley, that's what we've kind of capped out at. They left Afghanistan with no more than a suitcase. So to come here, housing needs to be provided. Home goods need to be provided. Food needs to be provided for. Everything that you walk through your door in your home and you step into your home and look around at all the possessions that you have, they have none of that. And they came here with a suitcase and a smile and a hope. We've been able to bring 7 families so far to the Valley. I'm very thankful for those 7 families. They are very thankful to the Grand Valley. We have 8 more. One of the families coming next week. Of the 350 volunteers we have 18 area churches that are sponsoring these various families. They're walking alongside them, showing how to be successful in America. We enroll their children into school. We show them some love and just walk alongside them every day and try to help them to become successful citizens of the United States. So I just wanted to thank everyone, but again, those 15 families I think are the ones that are going to be the most grateful of all. These are loving, wonderful people. They were abandoned by their own country because the Taliban, they would have been subjugated by the Taliban had they stayed. And so with that said, thank you. I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity to come here and tell you a little bit about Grand Valley Resettlement Program, but also for all of the giving. I cannot believe how giving this valley is. There's loving, giving people throughout this valley. I've been here, you ask how many years? Well, I've been here for about 35. And believe it or not, okay, no one applaud or anything. I am a native. I mean, I know I'm a stranger in the land by coming saying that. I say that jokingly, folks. But in reality, you know, I am a native of Colorado, but we've been here about 35 years. And this is home, and there's a reason we're here, and it's because of people like you. So thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. And go on the website, look us up if you like, jdainternational.org. Scroll clear to the bottom of the page. On the top, it'll say give. If you give up there, you're going to give to JDA. But if you scroll to the bottom of the page, you'll see a donate area where it's actually give to GVRP, which is a subset of JDA International. JDA International is the nonprofit group that we work with. And then also Bob Hedlund worked in Afghanistan with these families. And it was in community development. Actually, it was in women's health. It was in women's education, because you're aware that in Afghanistan, they were pretty well repressed, the ladies were. So again, these folks are coming here, and their daughters are able to go to school, and we've included all of them, and it's been an exciting time in their life. So thank you so much. God bless every one of you. But more than anything, I just want to say I know that you are people of many faiths, and I value that, but mine is that I'm faithful to my Lord Jesus, and I'm thankful for the opportunity to serve him in this capacity. It's been nothing but a pleasure, and nothing but actually the Afghanis we believe that they're the ones that get the blessing. They're not the ones that get the blessing. We're the ones that get the blessing because we're able to walk along with them. They provide the blessing to us. So thanks so much. God bless you guys. Take care.
I believe this is our first all-female Thanksgiving choir. The singers are all female, so.
Our theme is gratitude tonight. At the Global Heart Spiritual Center, we believe that God is all there is. So when you read the newspaper some days, you find that gratitude becomes a practice. How to be grateful for what you see, read about, and abhor. How does one find gratitude? How does one believe that God is all there is? Recently, I often go through phases in practice. And I went through a phase of a practice of kindness. That was very interesting, finding that there were days when I would be out in public and be observing things around me and see such simple, beautiful kindnesses, and other times see someone who was really hurting and just not able to smile, not able to see anything good around them. And that made me stop and go, when do I do that? How do I change that? How do I believe in God is all there is? Well, recently, in my spiritual work, I heard this was a good time to take on a sacrament. That's not a word I usually use. I was raised Greek Orthodox from birth into my early adulthood, and there were a lot of sacraments that we practiced, learned about, and came into. But since my probably 40s, I have come into a different way of practice. So hearing the word sacrament, practice a sacrament, and then it became clear. You need to practice the sacrament of gratitude. Drink it in. Wake up with it. When you are crying like a baby and needing inside your soul some solace, go to gratitude. When you are tired and you think, I can't do one more thing, be grateful that you will not just do one more thing. You will do many more, and you will have help. Gratitude as a sacrament, a commitment to it, like you would commit to a partner, a spouse, a friend, a neighbor. I had never thought of gratitude as a sacrament. But I have discovered that I have said thank you so much lately to people when I know others have needed help, that the quality of my word when I say thank you now is different, because I'm feeling that tone of sacrament, of remembering what it's like to commune with others, of remembering what it's like to have someone say, no, just go home, I've got this. So I can just go home. Gratitude, not just a noun, more than a feeling tone, even more than a practice. It's God right there with you, no matter what is happening. And so this theme tonight is a very deep one for me. And I love everything I've heard tonight. So empowering that I think I've really had communion tonight from your words, your smiles, your presence, your kindness. Gratitude, more than a noun, a way to live. Thank you tonight for being here and listening.
The Jewish path of the soul is called Musar. The third path is gratitude. It's making something of beauty out of what we do have, incomplete as it may be. The Musar teachings on the attitude of gratitude are tough because they don't let us feel sorry for ourselves, no matter how little we may have. One Musar master began a talk with a thump on the table and the words, "It's enough that a human being is alive." And then he ended his talk. There is a story, maybe an urban legend, but full of truth nonetheless, concerning the famous violinist Itzhak Perelman. One evening, Perelman was in a concert in New York to give a concert. As a child, he had been stricken with polio, and getting on stage is no small feat for him. He wears braces on both legs and walks with 2 crutches. Perelman crossed the stage painfully, slowly, until he reached the chair in which he seated himself to play. As soon as he appeared on stage that night, the audience applauded and then waited respectfully as he made his way slowly across the stage. He took his seat, signaled to the conductor, and began to play. No sooner had he finished the first few bars than one of the strings on his violin snapped like a report, like gunshot. At that point, Perelman was close enough to the beginning of the piece that it would have been reasonable to bring the concert to a halt while he replaced the string to begin again. But that's not what he did. He waited a moment and then signaled the conductor to pick up just where they had left off. Perelman now had only 3 strings with which to play his soloist part. He was able to find some of the missing notes on adjoining strings, but where that wasn't possible, he had to rearrange the music on the spot in his head so that it all held together. He played with passion and artistry, spontaneously rearranging the symphony right through to the end. When he finally finished, he rested his bow. The audience sat for a moment in stunned silence. And then they rose to their feet and cheered wildly. They knew they had been witness to an extraordinary display of human skill and ingenuity. Perelman raised his bow to signal for quiet. "You know," he said, "sometimes it is the artist's task to find out how much beautiful music you can still make with what you have left." We have to wonder, was he speaking of his violin strings or his crippled body? And is it only true for artists? We are all lacking something, and so we are all challenged to answer the question, do we have the attitude of making something of beauty out of what we do have, incomplete as it may be? If you've lost your job, you still have your family and health. You have something to be grateful for. If you can't move around except in a wheelchair, but your mind is as sharp as ever, you have something to be grateful for. If you've broken a string on your violin and you still have 3 more, you have something to be grateful for. When you open up to the attitude of gratitude, you see clearly and accurately how much good there is in your life. Gratitude affirms. Those things you are lacking are still not there, and in reaching for gratitude, no one is saying you ought to put on rose-colored glasses to obscure those shortcomings, but most of us tend to focus so heavily on the deficiencies in our lives that we barely perceive the good that counterbalances them. There is no limit to what we don't have. And if that is where we put our focus, then our lives will inevitably be filled with endless dissatisfaction. This is the ethos that lies behind the great biblical proverb, "Who is rich? Those who rejoice in their own lot." When you live charged with gratitude, you will give thanks for anything or anyone who has benefited you, whether they meant to or not. Imagine a prayer of thanks springing to your lips when the driver in the car next to you lets you merge without protest, or when the water flows from the tap or the food is adequate. When gratitude is this well established, it is a sign of a heart that has been made right and whole. Gratitude cannot coexist with arrogance, or with resentment, or with selfishness. The Hasidic teacher, Rabbi Nachman, it's hard for me to say those CH sounds, of Breslov writes, "Gratitude rejoices with her sister joy and is always ready to light a candle and party. Gratitude doesn't like the old grouches of boredom, despair, and taking life for granted. If we can be grateful to chance, events, animals which help us involuntarily, how much more so to human beings who have free will and who help us consciously out of the goodness of their hearts, or to the mysterious source out of which our lives have come. When Leah, wife of the patriarch Jacob, had her fourth child, she named him Yehuda, which means I am grateful, to reflect her gratitude to God for the gift of another son. The name Yehuda is the source of the Jewish name for ourselves, Yehudim, revealing the very direct tie between Judaism and gratitude. Gratitude opens the heart, and that's why it provides a fine orientation equally to the inanimate, the human, and the divine dimensions of the world. A simple and effective way to practice gratitude is by giving thanks part of your everyday life. The habit of saying blessings can remind you to be thankful when you hit a green light, or the salad is fresh, or the garden is getting the rain it needs, or your child came home from school safely as usual. Can you see how such a practice might slowly but insistently change your orientation to the world? Thank you all for being here.
Well, my goodness, I am so thoroughly grateful and inspired and challenged, Reverend Lauren, to move from this place with gratitude in my heart and a commitment to help make the world a better place. At the outset, I neglected to say thank you to my friend Diana Fischera Shirley here, who has supported us with American Sign Language at Given for a couple of different years. And I also, what else did I want to say before I say goodbye? Just a reminder, if you would care to financially support either one of the charities that we've chosen this year, the We Shelter or the Grand Valley Resettlement Project, you've got information on your flyers. You can do that tonight. You can do it anytime you want to. Part of the beauty of both of those programs is if you're a person who's like, well, I really don't want to write another check, but I got a shed full of toilet paper. You know, these programs can take that tangible stuff too. And sometimes if you have little kids, sometimes it means something when they bring something, a physical something to the fore. So just want to encourage you all to mark your calendars for 2023, the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. We will gather again with multiple faiths and celebrate our gratitude. We're going to close this evening with a short video of sending from the pastor here at American Lutheran, Valerie Carlson, who is not able to be here this evening. But I wish you all a fabulous Thanksgiving and holiday season, whatever holidays you celebrate over the next several weeks. And thank you for coming tonight.
Hello, I'm Pastor Valerie, the pastor of American Lutheran Church, and on behalf of the whole congregation, thank you. Thank you for inviting us to host this service, and thank you for all that you have offered in this service, and for holding this sacred space together with us, digitally and physically. As we are sent out from this sacred space, this space that we have held sacred wherever we are, and we are called to bear divine and liberating love into the world, I offer this prayer. It is called Grip of Grace, and it was authored by the Reverend Nanette Banks, Vice President for Community Engagement and Alumni Relations at McCormick Theological Seminary in Chicago, Illinois. Please join your heart with mine in prayer. Hold me in grace, God, until my heart is free from the constant breaking and filled with consistent hope instead. Hold me in grace, God, until I can believe that this too shall pass. Hold me in grace, God, until the moment I remember I have not been consumed. Hold me in grace, God, until I can grasp your steady, unchangeable hand. Hold me and all those who call you God in the undeniable grasp of grace, the grasp that reminds us you will answer. Amen. Although the worship service is concluding, this is not the end. It is a beginning, the beginning of what will grow from this time together. So I'll end with an excerpt from Elegy in Joy. It's a poem by Muriel Rukeyser. It's just an excerpt, it's not the whole thing. We tell beginnings for the flesh and the answer, or the look, the lake in the eye that knows, for the despair that flows down in widest rivers, cloud of home, and also the green tree of grace, all in the leaf, in the love that gives us ourselves. The word of nourishment passes through the women, soldiers, and orchards, rooted in constellations, white towers, eyes of children, saying in time of war, what shall we feed? I cannot say the end. Nourish beginnings. Let us nourish beginnings. Not all things are blessed, but the seeds of all things are blessed. The blessing is in the seed. This moment, this seed, this wave of the seed, this look, this instant of love, years over wars and an imagining of peace, or the expiation journey toward peace, which is many wishes flaming together, fierce, pure life, the many living home. Love that gives us ourselves. In the world known to all, new techniques for the healing of the wound and the unknown world. One life for the faring of stars. Go in gratitude, in community, and in love.
Would all the participants and given members like to gather for a group picture?